Would you believe me if I told you I used to work at a methadone clinic? What if I told you I used to work for a correctional facility for inpatient substance abuse recovery? What if I told you I worked for a jail to review detention for people who were supposed to be released, but for some reason were still in the jail? Those things are all true. They're all true. I worked in all of those places after I finished my bachelor's degree and before I went to law school. So some of them were when I was doing my master's degree, and then I was out for a little bit of time more after my master's degree before I went on to law school. So I had a variety of experiences prior to law school that put me in proximity to people who were having major issues, and all of these things combined made me feel like there's kind of like a common denominator. And when people are experiencing issues, that makes it very difficult to get over. And if we could go to the very bottom of all those common denominators and help people, then it would be a huge help for society, right? However, I always had this interest, but people wanted to pivot me into criminal because of my background, but I always had this interest in immigration. But when I graduated from law school, it was 2009. It was a major recession. I remember people in the hallways were crying left and right. Job offers were being rescinded. Companies, law firms were merging. Some of them were just completely going under. It was an uncertain time. So lucky for me, my job had maintained the job offer they gave me, but they said I wasn't going to be able to work in the department that I originally was going to go into. I was going to have to go into insurance defense / workers' compensation because that's where they could keep me and retain my job offer. And I took it because I was grateful. I was grateful to still have the opportunity to have a job in that kind of climate. And in the years that I worked in workers' comp, I did develop a lot of skills. I was almost immediately able to handle my own depositions, conduct my own trials, but always was there the feeling that I'm not really doing the good in the world that I wanted to see. It doesn't matter how much money I save the insurance company, especially because I'm saving the insurance company money harming people who look like me, basically. Because they see me, I'm the only person who looks like them in the room, and they inherently trust me even though I'm on the other side of the equation. So I kept trying to find ways to satisfy my soul because I was not in a practice area that I really wanted to be in. I volunteered on juvenile panels. I became a foster parent. I did all these things to satisfy my little civic heart, and it just was not happening. So finally, I just left that job altogether. I was unable to get someone to hire me directly into immigration after so many years working insurance defense. So I just took a break, went to Mexico. There's more to that story, but coming from Mexico, people were more willing to take me seriously that I wanted to work in immigration. So I stayed at the border for a bit after spending a year in Mexico and did some volunteer work with the Care Pro Bono Project in Dilley, Texas. And then after that, I was able to get my first full-time job working as an immigration attorney. After bouncing around in a few different firms, I finally started working for myself. There's a chance that I did not answer your question in saying all of that, but that's the best that's the best I can do for you today.